But the guns, when it came to the guns, we really were scared. We really were. And he jumped right on that one. He jumped right on it. He said, well, what we're going to do is you're going to sleep in my bedroom. And I can remember always fighting. I'm not getting in the middle. It's your turn to get in the middle. You have to get in the middle. Because whoever was in the middle, they got the brunt of it. You know, he either, you put your hands on him or he put his hands on you.
I actually can recall being in 4th grade, suffering the abuse that was going on at home, literally not even wanting to go home, and going over to the church, the local church, and sitting in the pew at the end of a school day and praying that something would save me, that this God I was being taught about would come down and miraculously take me out of the situation I was in and put me in this wonderful situation. And I remember in 4th grade thinking, God, I have been abandoned, you know. Why have you forsaken me? I put up with this in 5th grade. I did it again in 6th grade. I did it in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. When am I going to get this help?
My sister Mary was the one who acted out, and she was constantly getting into trouble, and it was just, her existence was absolutely awful. There was an incident when we were down in Atlantic City where she left the house we were at to go with our older cousin, a teenage girl, to go up the street to get ice cream. Our mother was drunk at the time. Mary did not ask permission.
She came out on the street and she was just gone crazy. Crazy. Grabbed a hold of me, started banging my head against this brick building, had a hold of my face so that she had these fingernails, long fingernails that she always kept painted. She had a hold of my face, scratched the whole, I had a sunburn, just took all the skin off, took the skin from the inside of my mouth, you know, just ripped it out with her fingernails and was beating my head against a brick wall because I went and got an ice cream cone.
Mary was sent by the state out to West Virginia to keep her as far away from Mary and Charlie White as possible because the state determined that these people are dangerous.
I was probably about 13, 14, and she started in on me, and I just grabbed a hold of her and threw her on the bed and started beating her up. You know, I'd had it. I'd taken enough.
She went into 2 years of intensive psychotherapy in Pittsburgh to get beyond all of that and to be able to say, I hate Mrs. White. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're an abused child, you don't say, I hate somebody. That's a bad thing. You don't admit to those negative feelings. So she had to be able to say it's okay.
My sister was the closest person to me next to my own wife and kids. She got, right after her 3rd divorce, she bought a house, and again she got breast cancer, and she passed away. The interesting thing is that while she was in the hospital dying, her adopted mother came to see her 2 times, claiming it was too difficult a ride for her to go see her. And my sister wanted only one single thing before she died. She wanted her mother to say, I'm sorry, and I love you. That's what she wanted to hear. 2 things. She never had that. It never came to her. It was never going to be. And she did ask on her dying breath that she reconcile with her mother, and it just never came to be.
I'm in bed in New Jersey. My adopted father calls on the phone and tells me that Mrs. White has passed away. She had a sudden heart attack in the middle of the night. I hang up, immediately call my sister Mary in West Virginia, and I start singing. Ding dong, the witch is dead, do 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 do, the witch is dead, ding dong, the wicked witch is dead.
When Catholic Social Services came to visit before the adoption papers were signed officially, we were never alone with the agent from the Catholic Social Services. We were asked how we liked our new home, but it was always in the presence of the two parents, and so therefore we weren't about, after getting beat as much as we did, we weren't about to say what we really thought.
Michael and Linda were adopted into an alcoholic family. Mary and I were adopted into an alcoholic family, which means that Catholic Charities, Catholic Social Services did not do a good investigation into the background of Mrs. White, because she had priors. She had arrests, and that should have been uncovered, and they did not.
Yeah.
Yeah. They bought into the whole suburban, we have a nice home in China and silver, and they serve tea and cookies, and the nuns bought into it.
But I think there are people that need to be held responsible for what they did to 3 little girls.
I mean, you would think that it's not a company, but a church organization like that would have had more involvement and more investigation into the placement of the kids.
You know, there were all kinds of checks. They checked their birth certificate, they checked, you know, are they married? They weren't even married, these people. They weren't even married. They had a best friend who was a priest, and the priest got them marriage certificates and forged birth certificates so that they would seem younger. I think we just have to be smarter about how we investigate and how we, you know, there's abuse today in foster care. You know, it shouldn't be happening.
I know it exists today because a friend of mine went through it, but the thing that I'd like to give the Catholic Social Services, and you're going to hate me for this.
I am going to hate you.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. It was the 50s and 60s. We didn't know what we know today about child psychology, and nobody even thought about it the way they think about it today. And so they screwed up big time, but I don't hold it against them in any way. Not really.
Can you do that? Okay, you do the high one, I'll do the low. Ready? I can't hear it.
My mom, my third mom, Mrs. Seabright, said, "So what, Mary? You know, so what you were abused, so what, you know, my mother died when I was born, so what?" And that's what you have to tell yourself. You can't live in the past. You can't let it control your future. So
Right.
what?
It's now actually like a story about history, although it does generate a lot of emotion inside you because you lived through it. But if you cannot get to the point where you can say, so what?